Welcome. Today we're going to learn basic Mahjong, one of the world's most popular games. Let's go. What you need. Mahjong is played with a 144 clackety tile set. The goal of Mahjong is to be the first to complete a 14-tile Mahjong hand, which here is a winning hand made up of 4 sets of 3 and 1 pair. We'll learn a basic setup with a basic objective, which here can be referred to as chicken hand or garbage hand in Mahjong. Like rummy or poker, in Mahjong you form sets. Sets can be Pongs, Pungs, which are 3 of a kind, Chows, 3 consecutive ascending tiles of the same suit, and Kongs, 4 of a kind. Lastly, you'll need 1 pair known as eyes. Simple, right? Let's break it down. Each player gets 13 tiles at the start. There's more to that. Walls are built with face-down piles in a square around the table, and we'll go over what the tiles mean, but first, let's just focus on the gameplay actions. Basic gameplay. Draw and discard. Each turn, you will draw a tile from the wall and discard 1 tile. Take a tile, discard a tile. That's all. The goal is to get your hand to a winning combination while keeping track of your opponent's moves, especially their discards. Discards are super important because you can steal discarded tiles and an extra turn. Here's how. If you are 1 away from completing a set of 3 identical tiles and another player discards the tile you need, you can say Pong or Pung and take their tile. You immediately reveal the 3 of a kind set. Boom, you're 1 step closer to having a winning hand. Since you took their tile, you will then discard 1 of your tiles to keep your tiles at 13, unless it was the winning tile. If you have a sequence of 2 tiles, like this 2 and 3 of bamboos, and another player discards the 4 of bams, you can steal their tile by saying Chow. But this is important. You can only call Chow if you are the player immediately to the left of the player who discarded the necessary tile. So if I discarded this, and each player could make a consecutive sequence from it, only the player on my right could call Chow and take it. My right be on their left. And what about the many other discarded tiles in the center? Can you pick up previously discarded tiles? Nope. They're dead. But they're face up so you can see what's now unavailable for you to use to form your Mahjong. Play continues counterclockwise from the last player who took their turn, not the player who called and played a discarded tile. Building sets. You can create sets in 2 main ways. So in your hand, or revealed in front of you, you can have a combination of Chows, which are runs of 3 in the same suit, Pung, 3 identical tiles, or Kong, 4 identical tiles. Pungs can turn into Kongs if you get the 4th of the Pung. Now don't fret, you don't have to really know the names at this point. You just need to know that you have 3 of a kind, or a sequence of 3. Okay, here's something that always comes up in new games, Kong. It's a set of 4 identical tiles. So how do you end up with a Mahjong hand with 4 sets of 3 tiles and 1 pair if you have a set of 4? Well, simply put, you can have 3 sets of 3 and a set of 4, the Kongs, plus your pair giving you a winning hand, a grand total of 15 tiles. Now Kongs don't really do much in basic Mahjong here, but they're a great way to increase your score in advanced Mahjong play. Winning. You shout Mahjong when your hand has 4 sets of 3 and 1 pair of 2 identical tiles. Just a heads up, your tiles should always number 13. Until you get the last needed tile. So your final winning hand has 14 tiles, not 13. The deal. Now let's talk about the first deal. First up is the most satisfying part of this game, the group shuffle. Place all the tiles face down and all players mix them up as a community. Once you're happy with the shuffle, you build the walls. Each player builds 1 wall, which will form the 4 stacked tile walls. Each wall is 2 high and 18 long. The walls are then pushed in to form a box or square with overlapping ends. Next, all players roll the provided dice, with the highest roller taking on the first deal. The dealer position is called the East Wind for whatever reason. They're just the dealer, and play will go counterclockwise from them. The Mahjong ritual continues with the dealer rolling the dice again to determine where to break the wall and start drawing tiles. The number rolled determines where the wall will be split, counting that many stacks from the right end of the east wall. This spot becomes the starting point for drawing tiles. So if the dealer rolls a 9, they'll take the 10th and 11th parts of the wall. Players draw tiles from sets of 4 from the starting point and continue around the table clockwise until everyone has 12 tiles. To top off their hands, each player will take 1 more tile. Except for the dealer, they take 2 more tiles, giving the dealer 14 tiles and all other players 13 tiles. The dealer begins. Since they started with 14 tiles, they do not take a tile on their first turn, rather they kick off the game by discarding a tile. Play continues counterclockwise. So now that everybody has their hand, what's up with these tiles? You can think of these as suits and some one-off specials. There are 3 suits which you can use as chows, or pongs. Those are circles known as dots, or balls, or wheels, bamboos, or bams. And lastly are the numbered characters, which can be called cracks, chars, or 10,000s, which is what the symbol on the bottom means. Each of these suits are numbered 1 through 9. The cracks are a bit tricky, so I've provided a helpful PDF cheat sheet for you, or you can take a screen grab now. Stick with it, and after a few rounds, you get the hang of them. That leaves us with these one-off sets, which are known as the winds, the dragons, and the bonus tiles. None of these can form consecutive sets in the basic setup, but you can form pairs, 3-of-a-kinds, or 4-of-a-kind Kongs with them. The black characters are the winds, east, south, west, and north. The red, green, and nether portal are the dragons. Finally are the bonus tiles, which are the 4 seasons and the 4 flowers. Technically, you don't need any of the 8 bonus tiles for Chicken Hand Mahjong. They're for special points in the advanced game. However, I recommend leaving them in. A, to get familiar with them for when you're ready for more advanced play, and B, it will make your setup look nicer, and it won't trip up your wall count. So if you start with 1 or more of the flowers or seasons, or you get any of them on your turn, simply reveal them and take a new tile from the end of the wall, not the beginning. So now let's recap. You want to get 4 sets of 3, which can be identical pieces or ascending values of the same suit, like this. Or this. You also need 1 pair. If you are the first player to have that, you go out and take the round. For turn actions, you take 1 tile from the next spot of the broken wall. You can keep it and discard a tile from your hand, or discard the tile you just received. Whatever you just discarded is now fair game for the other players who can claim it. If it forms a 3-tile set, not a pair, they must call it out and reveal the set, leaving it face up on the table for the round. They must also discard 1 tile from their hand. Only the player immediately to the right of the discard can claim a chow, which is the missing piece of an ascending sequence. So if you can make a 3-of-a-kind out of something, it's fair game, just say Pong. If it's a discarded tile that completes your sequence, you can only take it if it's from the person on your left. And can you continue your sequence with more than 3? In Chicken Hand, you cannot. All Mahjong tiles have 4 identical pieces, which means you could get 4-of-a-kind or a Kong. Either way, if you reveal a Kong, you get an additional tile from the wall. This gives you a chance to get another tile closer to winning without waiting for a discard. End of round. When a player gets their final tile, which completes a legitimate Mahjong hand, they reveal any remaining tiles and say Mahjong or Sikwu. In this beginner style, the winner takes all. In Fan or Foon style Mahjong, you would now score based on the type of combinations you made. And there are a lot of them. Check out my PDF cheat sheet for those as well. Setting up the next round. If the dealer or east wind position went out in the previous round and won, then the positions stay the same and the player who was east wind remains the same for another round. If one of the other winds or players went out in the previous round, the wind positions rotate in a counterclockwise fashion so that the player who is in the south wind in the previous round now becomes the east wind. The game continues until you get an agreed upon score in Chicken Hand. Other rules. If there are multiple claims for the same tile, if a player can make a Mahjong from it, the winning hand, they take first priority. Kong, 4-of-a-kind, takes second priority. Pong, 3-of-a-kind, takes third. Chow, the sequence, takes last priority. If 2 players call the same category, for example, both players want to call Pong on the same discarded tile, the player who is closest in turn order to the discarded player takes precedence. So once you get a calm hang of Chicken Hand Mahjong, you can try for the more official Mahjong known as Fun-based Mahjong. Fan or Fun here refers to the many different scoring combinations you can create with the tiles, Chicken Hand being the lowest. Mahjong is a game that can be as simple as rummy and as complicated as calculus. That wide range of versatility plus the social aspect plus the fun sound effects have made Mahjong one of the world's most popular tabletop games. I hope you give it a shot and let me know how it goes in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share to help this channel grow. You are great. See you next time on Playing Games.
You had nothing out? Nothing?
Nothing. I was like,